Real quick thing to say just before this video starts, because this happened after I filmed this video, but I still wanted to talk about it a bit, was I was on the local news. KPRC Channel 2 News here in Houston, Texas, did a segment on me this week, just about my YouTube channel, kind of a behind the scenes thing. So if you're interested in watching that and you missed my announcements on Twitter and Facebook earlier this week, the link is down in the description below. So if you want to watch that, be sure to check it out. But enough of that, let's get on with the video. Greetings, Wiki fans! Michael here. In case you missed any of the earlier announcements I made, I have just launched a brand new MandJTV merch store. If you click the link down in the description below, you can find all sorts of MandJTV merch featuring my character art and my channel logo that has been modified a bit to avoid copyright infringement, an example of which I am wearing right now. Also, we just added women's V-necks to the store, an example of which you can see Jubilee modeling beautifully in this picture right here. So if you want one of those or any of the MandJTV merch, be sure to go check out the store with the link down in the description below. Today I am back for another top 5 video, the first countdown video I have done since January, since these take a long time to make and school is just the worst right now. Just gotta survive until May. I can do this. 2 of my most successful top 5 videos have been the top 5 strongest Pokemon of all time and the top 5 strongest new Pokemon from Pokemon Sun and Moon. And I've gotten a lot of comments on those videos requesting that I make a similar top 5 strongest Pokemon video, but excluding legendaries and mega evolutions. So, that's what I'm gonna do today. Like the other 2 videos, I will be ranking these Pokemon based solely on their base stat total, which will take precedence over any other factor. However, in the event of a tie, I will use other factors to break it, such as move pool, type matchups, and overall competitive prowess. So be sure to leave a like on the video, subscribe if you haven't already, and comment below what Pokemon you think will be on the list. And without further ado, here are the top 5 strongest non-legendary or mega Pokemon of all time. Number 5. Dragonite. This list immediately starts off with a tie between 8 different Pokemon. The pseudo-legendaries. For those who don't know, a pseudo-legendary Pokemon is one that has a base stat total of exactly 600, 1.25 million experience points at level 100, and is part of a 3-stage evolutionary line. As of Gen 7, the pseudo-legendary Pokemon are Dragonite, Tyranitar, Salamence, Metagross, Garchomp, Hydreigon, Goodra, and Kammo-o. There are only 3 non-legendary or mega Pokemon that have a higher base stat total than the pseudo-legendaries, meaning that only 2 of the 8 pseudo-legendaries made it onto this list. Because they all have a base stat total of 600, I had to account for other factors in breaking the tie, and based on my analysis, I have placed Dragonite at number 5. Dragonite is the OG pseudo-legendary Pokemon, and while it wasn't all that prevalent and competitive for a while, gaining the ability Multiscale in Gen 5 has turned it into a monster. Multiscale, for those who are unaware, halves the damage Dragonite takes when it has full health. So that, combined with its solid bulk of 91 base HP, 95 defense, and 100 defense, means that Dragonite can tank most any hit from full health, even some 4 times super effective Ice-type attacks. But not only are Dragonite's defenses great, its attacking power is insane. It has a monstrous base 134 attack with a phenomenally wide physical move pool to back it up. Dragonite's physical move pool is so wide that it can learn moves that are super effective on all 4 of its weaknesses. So even if you bring in a Pokemon that's good against a Dragonite, you may not be able to take it down. Number 4. Garchomp. Garchomp has been and will continue to be the best pseudo-legendary Pokemon, so it makes a lot of sense that you see this thing everywhere in the competitive scene in several different metagames. Garchomp outclasses Dragonite by just a bit in my opinion, and that's mainly due to its superior type matchups and offensive power. First, type matchups. Garchomp and Dragonite have the exact same weaknesses except for Rock type, where Dragonite is weak to it and Garchomp resists it. This one difference is a really big deal though, since instead of being weak to the ever-prevalent Stealth Rock like Dragonite is, Garchomp resists it. Ground is also a better stab type than Flying, since it's super effective against 5 types instead of 3. As for offensive capabilities, Garchomp's physical attack is only slightly lower than Dragonite's, but it is a much faster Pokemon, meaning that Garchomp tends to be more capable of sweeping than Dragonite is. Garchomp also has a similarly wide physical move pool, so it has a lot of versatility for how it can strike you down. Garchomp's defenses aren't as good as Dragonite's, but they're definitely still competent and often not even needed since Garchomp is so fast that it can strike its opponents down without taking a hit. But in the event that Garchomp does take a hit, Rough Skin is a great ability since it's free chip damage that can really add up. It was a challenge for me to decide who was the best pseudo-legendary, but in the end, Garchomp's versatility, type matchups, and power definitely make it the best pseudo-legendary over all of the other ones. However, even though it's a very, very good Pokemon and used quite a lot, it's not actually the strongest non-legendary or Mega Pokemon out there, and by quite a large margin. Number 3. School Form Wishywashy. School Form Wishywashy holds the #1 spot on my top 5 strongest new Pokemon from Pokemon Sun and Moon video, since the only other non-legendary Gen 7 Pokemon that comes even close in base stat total is the pseudo-legendary Pokemon Kamo-o. School Form Wishywashy has an incredible base stat total of 620, with spectacular base 140 attack and special attack, with defenses that are nearly as phenomenal. It should be noted though that its HP and speed are virtually non-existent. Wishywashy is amusing though, since once its HP gets down below 25%, it becomes the weakest Pokemon in existence. Literally, it only has a base stat total of 175, 5 less than the former King of Weakness, Sunkern. This little fish here is more feeble than a sunflower seed, and based on what I've consumed in the past, probably tastes worse too. Number 2. Ash Greninja. Ash Greninja was essentially Ash's version of a Mega Evolution, but since it technically isn't a Mega Evolution, and it's actually fairly similar to Wishywashy since it changes forms due to its ability, I felt obligated to include it on this list. If you disagree, well, you're wrong. If you obtain a Greninja with the ability Battle Bond, it will transform into Ash Greninja if it knocks out a Pokemon in battle, provided that knocking that Pokemon out doesn't end the battle. This transformation takes regular Greninja's base stat total of 530 to a whopping 640, giving 50 points to each of its 2 attack stats and 10 to its speed. It also boosts Water Shuriken's base power from 15 to 20 and makes it so that it always hits 3 times, but that's mostly useless. Like, just use Surf. Unfortunately for Ash Greninja, like Wishywashy, the gimmick of how it changes forms makes it so it's not as useful in battle. Having to knock a Pokemon out just to change forms can be difficult to accomplish, so most people agree that you're probably better off just using a Greninja with Protean. However, if you are somehow able to get an Ash Greninja on the field, you will hit very hard, very fast. Number 1. Slacking. Slacking is an absolute monster. It has a base stat total of 670, which includes an incredible base 150 HP, the 9th highest in the game, and an amazing base 160 attack, the 13th highest in the game. And both of those rankings include legendaries and megas. It's also very surprisingly speedy with base 100 speed, and while its special defense isn't that great, its base 100 defense paired with its amazing base HP gives it phenomenal bulk as well. However, as you likely know, Slacking is a lazy piece of. Slacking's only ability is Truant, meaning that it only gets to attack every other turn. This makes it virtually useless in any sort of battle situation, since for every time Slacking gets to attack, its opponent gets to attack twice. There are moves in the Pokemon world that can change another Pokemon's ability, but 3 of the 5, Entrainment, Simple Beam, and Worry Seed, don't work on Truant. The only ways to change a Slacking's ability is for you to either use Skill Swap on it, and therefore give Truant to some other poor unfortunate soul, or to use Gastro Acid on it and therefore suppress Truant's effects. Either way, it's still only practical in double battles, and you still have to waste both a move slot and a turn in order to carry it out, so it still doesn't make sense to use Slacking in any battle situation at all. But if this were some other parallel universe and Slacking wasn't as lazy as it is, it would be dominating the competitive scene, since this King Kong Mini is actually on the same power level as the beings who created the land and the sea. So there we have it. Those are the top 5 strongest non-legendary or Mega Pokemon as of Gen 7. If there's one thing we can take from this list, it's that just because a Pokemon has a high base stat total that doesn't mean it's good. What did you think of this video? Do you agree with my rankings of Garchomp and Dragonite? What are some other top 5 or top 10 videos you want to see me make? Let me know in the comments below! And if you like this video, be sure to leave a like, and if you haven't already, you should definitely subscribe for more fun Pokemon content of all kinds. Alright, that's all I have for now, so don't forget to check out the MandJTV merch store, and until next time, Poke fans, gotta catch them all!